Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Vice President Engineering, Vic Gundotra.
Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to day 2 of Google I/O. I hope you all had a great time yesterday. I hope you enjoyed your sessions, and I hope you enjoyed those Android phones. Yesterday, we promised you a surprise for this morning. And this morning, Google will surprise you. We are about to unveil a personal communication and collaboration tool in a very early form. We decided to do this at this forum for a couple of reasons. This unbelievable product, one that I'm very, very excited about, will be open sourced. It's open sourced for many reasons. Not only do we want to contribute to the internet, but frankly, we need developers to help us complete this product. And we need your support. So we hope after you see this, you're as excited about it as we are. And number 2, we decided to unveil this product in its early form at this conference because it is an unbelievable, powerful demonstration of what is possible in the browser. I guarantee you that over the next hour and a half, as you see this product, you will forget that you are looking at the browser. And I want you to repeat after me. I am looking at an HTML5 app. I am looking at what's possible in the browser. And I hope you are as excited and delighted as I was when I first saw the thinking behind this product. Now, it shouldn't have surprised me that this product would be magical. After all, the engineering leadership had already produced a magical product. The engineering leadership behind what you're about to see is the work of 2 brothers and an amazing engineering team with them. Those 2 brothers are Lars and Jens Rasmussen. Now, you might remember those names because those were the same amazing people that did another magical app called Maps, Google Maps. And so you'll see what they've been working on unveiled for the first time today. So why don't we go ahead and get started. Remember, this is an early developer preview for this audience. Everyone in this room will get accounts to give us feedback, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. We have your email addresses, so you will get those passwords a little bit later on, likely tomorrow. With that, let me just go ahead and get started. Let me introduce Lars Rasmussen and Stephanie Hannon. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. I shall wake up my laptop. Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for coming early. I know you've been here partying all night. We're going to show a demo today of a product that we've been working on for a couple of years down in Sydney, Australia. It's called Google Wave, and it's a communication and collaborations tool that we're launching later in the year. Like Vic said, it's a little unusual for us to be showing it to the world this early. The reason we're doing it is very simple. We're starting a developer preview today. You guys will all get accounts on a sandbox build of the system. You're the first outside of Google to see this, and you'll be the first to get accounts on the system. And we're doing that because, as you'll see from the demo, Google Wave comes with a set of really nice APIs, and we're hoping we can persuade you guys to start building cool things with those APIs while we're getting the product ready for launch, which is going to happen later this year. Because that way, when we do launch, our users and your users can enjoy both Google Waves and all the cool things that we hope you'll build at the same time. Let me introduce Stephanie Hannon. She's quite possibly the best PM in the world.
Good morning, I/O. Thank you, Vic, for the invitation to be here. We couldn't imagine a better audience to show our product to first.
I second that.
Our presentation today is in 3 parts. First, we're going to show you a demo of the product. Second, we'll show you the APIs that Lars talked about. You can use Waves to enhance your website, and you can build extensions to Wave itself. Third, we'll show you that Wave is also a protocol. We are very passionate about this being an open system of communication. We hope other people build Wave services that interoperate with ours so users have choice in their provider. We affectionately call this the 3 Ps: product, cross-platform protocol, and we'll talk about them all today.
Okay, so communication. Email today is by far the most popular way for us to communicate on the internet, which is remarkable because email was invented more than 40 years ago, before the internet, before the web. And it was done without the experience of things like SMS and instant messaging and blogs and wikis and bulletin boards and discussion groups and social networks and wikis and media sharing sites and collaborative editors, all of these different kinds of communication that we take for granted today. Also, of course, computers and networks have dramatically improved in those 4 decades. And so when we started this project, and it's been more than 2 years, we asked ourselves the question, what might email look like if it was invented today? And needless to say, there's about 1 million different ways you can answer that question. What you're going to see today, Google Wave, is our attempt. And so let me start by briefly contrasting email from Wave. Email essentially mimics snail mail. The basic metaphor is you write a message and you send it to one or more recipients. And then email systems, and we like to think Gmail does this particularly well, can collate related messages into conversations or threads. Wave, by contrast, starts out with the definition of a conversation, which is simply a lightweight tree structure of messages and a set of users participating in that conversation. And then instead of thinking of individual messages as being sent back and forth, we think of the entire conversation object as being a shared object hosted on a server somewhere. And users that participate can open up that wave, leave their replies, go away, and then when the next user comes, she can open up that same shared object, see those replies, and add her own. That's how the wave grows. That's how the conversation builds up. And you'll recognize that this is a model akin to how bulletin boards work. We found that with a tight enough implementation, you can use that to build a single communication tool that has functionality spanning quite a lot further than what you can do with email today. And so we'll show you a demo. It'll take you through a series of usage scenarios that you'll be familiar with, but where today we would use different tools for each one. We'll show you how it all fits neatly in this one metaphor of hosted conversations. Stephanie.
So what you are looking at is an HTML5 app that we built with the Google Web Toolkit. On the left side is Lars running Chrome. On the right side, I'm running Safari. And a little bit later, we're going to throw in Firefox. So the same thing is being shown on each pair of screens. You can just choose one to look at.
OK, so we'll start with plain vanilla email type conversations, and we'll show you how it looks in Wave. We're planning a boat trip, and I'm going to start by clicking New Wave here, and then I'll type my title in the first line.
Watch your spelling, Lars. There's a lot of people.
There is a lot of people. They can't see what I'm typing anyway. Are you ready for the boat trip? Hey, Steph. Did you guys like the spell checker? Okay. We'll talk more about that later. Since you don't want to watch me type for an hour, we put canned messages in there. We'll try hard to pull them out before we launch. I click Done. It asks me for more users. I'll add Stephanie. And since she is offline, I'm going to go stare at a blank page.
So I will open Wave. And you'll see in my search panel, the middle panel, there'll be an unread message from Lars. He's asking me if I want to go shopping before this boat trip. So I'll do something very email-like, which is hit reply and say, I love shopping.
I wrote the script.
I need new fins. Let's go. The first benefit I want to show you of this being a hosted conversation is it's easier to keep track of structure. If this was email and I wanted to reply to the middle part of Lars's message where he asked which bus to take, I would hit reply, the email client would copy the message, and I'd hand edit in the response. Because this is a hosted conversation and it lives in one place, I can just instruct the server to split the message apart and say, you never wake up early, which is true. Let's take the late bus. OK, Lars isn't online. I'm going to close this Wave.
So a little bit later, I come back online, and you'll see, for starters, that that wave is now bold to show me there's new material in it. When I open it up, Stephanie's first message gets the highlight, and I can navigate the conversation with my keyboard and, of course, continue her thread here. You know me too well, like that. And that's how plain vanilla email type conversations work in Wave. So you've noticed that we have carefully avoided having the Wave open on both screens. When we do have the Wave open at the same time, my messages bounces right off the server into Stephanie's browser. And the effect is that you can also do instant messaging type conversations in Wave. In fact, in the same Wave, you can switch back and forth between these different ways of communicating. I'll show you that now. Shiny, you must know a good store. Right.
There is a new one over on George Street.
Cool. Let's go at 7.
Sounds good. Let's invite Jens too.
Okay. So you notice that we didn't wait for me to hit done before showing Stephanie the message, but rather, and this was difficult to do, we transmit live almost character by character what I'm typing. Why did we do that? It's because with today's instant messaging tools, you spent half of your time looking at it saying, Stephanie's typing, she's typing, she's typing, she's typing, and then you see what she said. Thank you. But because, in general, you can start formulating your own reply before Stephanie is done typing hers, by doing this live transmission, you end up spending 100% of your time either reading or writing, which dramatically speeds up the conversation. Now, needless to say, there are times you don't want everyone to see every keystroke, in particular if you spell like I do. And so we have this checkbox here. All you have to do is check it, and now no one can see what you're typing until you hit that done button. This is one of the features we haven't implemented quite yet. Okay, and so that's how email conversations, or rather email type conversations and instant messaging type conversations no longer require 2 separate tools. Next thing we want to show you is how easy it is to add a new person to an ongoing conversation. Can I just introduce my brother Jens, by the way? Give him a hand, please. So we want to add Jens to the conversation. If this was email, I would take the last message here, reply to it, and add Jens to the recipient list. There's 2 problems with that. For starters, because we branched the conversation up here, that last email message would not contain the entire conversation. But also, if Stephanie then later, when I reply to an earlier message of mine, Jens wouldn't get that anyway. You end up with these cat and mouse games. In the Wave model, all you have to do is make Jens a participant in the Wave like that. And now I'll switch over to Firefox here, where Jens is already signed in.
So now that I'm on the Wave, I'm going to open it. And of course, everything is going to be marked as unread for me. But because I was added late, I didn't get to see Lars's message in one piece. And by the time I'm added, they could be arbitrarily far apart. So we added a feature called playback. So I get to see Lars's original message. Lars asks Stephanie. Stephanie replies. Stephanie does an inline reply. And so on and so on.
Thank you.
So playback turns out to be a really useful feature, particularly when a Wave starts picking up more structure. And we'll show you more of that later. But now that I've caught up on this Wave, I'm going to just add my reply. Me too. Oh, I think I crashed.
Did I mention that it's a developer preview?
Yeah.
So we made sure to inject a few bugs so that you wouldn't have too high expectations. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Did you notice how quickly it reloads? Did we mention we use Squid? All right, so I'm going to add my reply. Me too, don't forget your keys. And then I'll hand it back to Lars.
Thank you. So that's how easy it is to add a new person to an ongoing conversation. And so often we end up having very nice group conversations in Wave, and then occasionally you want to say something in a Wave that's not visible to all the participants. We call that a private reply, and I'll add one down here at the bottom, and I'll say, let's buy Steph a really nice present.
I wrote this part.
And then I will add just Jens, And you will see, if I just quickly flip over to Jens's browser and scroll down, he sees that private reply, but if you look at Stephanie's screen, she doesn't see it. And if you remember, I've explained that a wave is a tree structure of messages. Essentially, you can take any sub-tree of the wave and restrict access to a subset of the participants. Okay, I switch back to my own account here. The next thing we want to show you is how attachments work in Wave. So we've been on a boat trip. It was very nice, thank you. And we all got pictures. I have 6 of them sitting here on my desktop, and I'm going to drag them onto the Wave like this.
You might not have noticed, but the thumbnails appeared on my screen long before the full images were uploaded from Lars's computer. I'll show you that again by dragging in my own photos from iPhoto. Ready? Here we go.
And you see them show up over on my screen. Don't be shy, you guys. If you like what you see, don't be shy letting us know. We can handle pretty much any amount of applause.
This feature, drag and drop from the desktop to the browser, is the one part of Wave that HTML5 can't support yet. We're working on a proposal to add it to the standard. In the meantime, you need to download Gears for this specific feature to work. It's the only part of Wave that you need Gears for. When Lars dropped in his images, you might have noticed at the bottom of the Wave panel, there's an image menu with actions you'd probably do on images, like upload or download. What's important is these actions apply to all the images in the Wave, not just the ones I dropped in, which makes Wave a really an easy, lightweight way to create a group photo album together, which is surprisingly hard to do with today's tools.
And so here's the photo album. This is Captain Athena. Here's A Hard Life Down Under. And as advertised, you'll see over here Stephanie's images show up in my slideshow so that I can show you just how much fun life down under is. And that's images. So that's how easy it is to share photos in Wave. This was a group trip. We'll all throw our photos in here. We'd probably share it with the rest of the office to make them envious. In this particular case, it's not clear that we want everyone to know that we went shopping together. And so one of the features down here lets me copy just the images from this wave into a fresh wave. Boating in January, enjoy all, here and yonder. And then I'll add Stephanie to this. I could now share that with the rest of the office. Now, this feature here of extracting images from a wave and putting them in a new one is actually part of a very important design principle for us, namely that we care just as much about the product of a wave as we do the wave itself. And we'll show you more examples of that later. Yes, we will. I forgot what's next.
How about we show them the embedding APIs?
Excellent idea. Okay, thank you. So, she's right. We should have rehearsed this before coming this morning. Just kidding. So the first category of APIs that we want to show you are APIs that let you embed waves onto your web pages. It's very similar to the Maps API, which, by the way, thank you everyone who used it. We consider your enthusiasm for that API an enormous factor in that product's success, and we're hoping, obviously, to repeat that with Wave.
They can give a round of applause to themselves.
Oh, yeah, a round of applause to yourself. Well done.
Yay,
Okay, so here's an example application. It's a little blogging site we've built. It's over on Google App Engine, but you could build it anywhere you host your website. And this blogging site, in addition to embedding waves on its pages, it provides me with this robotic participant that we affectionately call Bloggy. All I have to do is add Bloggy to the wave. And now you'll see, you can probably not read that, but on that yellow banner, all users on the wave is now warned that Bloggy, this new participant, has published the blog on a page which we build over an App Engine. Can I just introduce Gregory D'Alessandro? He's another PM on the team. And he's going to show you the blog site now.
Hi, I'm Greg, and I'm a huge fan of Lars's blog, just like everybody on the team is told they should be. I'm going to show
he
you.
makes us read it.
It's a good blog. Come on.
Hold on just a second. Did we lose?
Did we lose VPN?
Yes, I think we might have.
Lars, this is where you do the dance.
Yeah. Lars,
Oh,
dance
yeah,
a
I
little
dance.
bit.
Everyone look at me. Don't look at the screen. Dun, 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 the wave dance.
I think we lost all
We do.
It's all
connectivity.
VPN.
Neener, neener.
VPN is
Neener,
not.
neener.
Just connect.
And then,
There's not a lot of people in the world that can have their demos spectacularly fail in front of 4,000 people and not break a sweat.
It wasn't the demo.
We
it was
wish
the
we
network.
were one of them. I
excellent.
think your proxy server might be missing. Oh, there we go.
All right, we're
All right.
back.
So, as I was saying, the blog. So in the blog, one of the cool things you can see is that we're not just embedding the images, we're actually embedding the whole wave with all of its UI. This means that I can respond, hey, that looks fun. Why wasn't I invited? The same way we embed, and we do, you can respond in the same way you do in the Wave client.
Exactly. And so now I can see, obviously, Greg's question from inside my Wave client. I can answer it from in here. I don't have to go to the blog site to do that. I could if I wanted to, but I can say here, I lost the phone with your number. I really, truly can't spell. Here we go.
So one of the things you just saw is that I happened to be online when Lars was online, and I saw his response coming in live on his blog. That's not always going to be the case. Since I responded to this blog, it'll show up in my Wave client right after I refresh my Wave client. It will show up in my Wave client, and I can continue the conversation in there. But Lars, I live next door. And then we can, that response shows up on the blog. We can continue the conversation from there, and anyone else can join in that conversation.
Thank you, Greg. Thank you. And so this, again, is an example of how to use our embedding APIs to put blogs on your web pages. And here we showed you with a blogging site, but you could imagine discussion group sites, community forums. If you have a rich media site, you can let your users discuss that using Waves. The benefit for developers, of course, is you get to provide this very live, rich experience with very little code. For your users, for starters, they get to use a familiar UI. But for those of your users that have Wave accounts, they get to walk around the web and aggregate the conversations they're interested in into the Wave client so that they don't have to go check back on 10,000 different pages whether someone responded to them, which will make Flame Wars so much more effective. She hates that joke.
I hate it.
Okay, so that was an example of how to embed Waves. The embedding APIs can do other things, and Stephanie will show you that now.
So we invited some of our colleagues from Brazil and India to Sydney who work on one of our social networks called Orkut. We wanted to build a demo of what it could look like to put Waves inside of Orkut. Obviously, it's a place where lots of discussions happen. It demonstrates 3 important principles or features of our embed API.
Beautiful.
Let me load up the demo.
Thank you.
So here's my Orkut account, and you can see there's a Wave panel in the middle. And the first thing is I can create a Wave on Orkut. So I'm starting a new Wave, and I'll say Brazil trip. Wonder when Lars will let me go. The second important feature is that you can use contacts other than your Wave contacts. In this case, the authors of the site chose to use the Orkut contacts, so I can add some of my Orkut friends, like Sid, Torsten, and Rodrigo, who all helped build this demo. The third principle is that I can embed a search panel inside of Orkut using the Embed API. I'll show you that now. I can search for all my waves from Yoon. And so on, and look at them. So that's waves embedded in Orkut. What's important is that our Embed API is powerful enough for you to build your own Wave client. In this case, the Orkut team chose to focus on waves created inside of Orkut, But just like in the blog example, I can go back to my Wave client, and I can see the wave I started there. Wonder when Lars will let me go to Brazil. So that's the Embed API.
You guys, thank you. Are you guys feeling inspired yet? So remember that we're all going to give you accounts on a sandbox build, which is in fact the build that we're demoing from later today. And this is all sample applications that we're hoping you'll pick up and build much, much cooler things with. Okay, so the next thing I want to show is, of course, you're going to want waves on your mobile devices. And I have an Android and an iPhone here, and I was going to show you how well it works communicating from mobile devices to the desktop. But you guys are all on Facebook, aren't you? Because I can't get on the wireless. So if it doesn't work, it's your fault. Okay, so you can see my inbox over here. This is on the Android device. Here's an open, the same open wave we saw before. You see the pretty pictures here. And then I can click the reply button like this. And you will see over on Stephanie's screen, which I can't see, you will see a reply. Imagine I was actually on a network, and then I could type in, I am on the boat. Done. Notice again my spelling. And nothing is going to show up over there because we haven't yet figured out squeezing this through without a connection. Maybe we'll show you that.
As long as it's your fault that it's not working. I just don't want to screw up.
We are working on it. Okay, so that's mobile.
How about we talk about editing?
Oh, that's a brilliant idea. Thank you. Okay, so the next thing I want to show you, again, because there's only, back to my desktop, thank you, there's only one copy of the wave out there. Even though we put these pictures on my blog, I discussed them with Greg, we had them on my mobile device. Now I notice that some of the captions are kind of wonky. And all I have to do is click this edit button here, and then I can fix that. Kayaks, Beer Man, and thank you. Oh,
and as you notice, the captions are updating on the blog.
Yes, hopefully you saw that the captions were actually updating live on the blog as I was typing. So here I edited my own message, but we actually let users edit each other's messages as well, which has a very nice effect that in addition to everything we showed you already, you can use Waves to collaboratively author documents, which we'll show you now. So let's leave the boat behind and let's go to work. Stephanie.
As Lars mentioned, I'm a product manager, and I often have to take notes in a meeting. Today, I have to decide if I want to send those notes out on email because I want people to discuss them, or if I'm going to put them in a doc or a wiki because I want other people to help me edit them. With Wave, you don't have to make that choice. You can do both discussion and content collaboration in one tool. So these are our meeting notes. I'm going to add Lars, Jens, Greg, and ACD.
And now pardon me.
Then you open it.
Then I open it. And even though this is Stephanie's message, I can click that same edit button and change this to Glorious. And then I can add an action item. AI, make more, better. AI is already. Woo, like that. Thank you. Thank you. And so that's how easy it is for me to edit Stephanie's message. We want to show you now how it looks to the other participants on the wave, the fact that I edited her message. We'll start with Stephanie.
So you can see the wave pop back into my inbox because there's new material. If I open it, I see the markups. So I see the changes that Lars made.
Thank you.
We haven't implemented it yet, but we'll also have a little description at the top that says Lars edited this message. What's important is I see these markups not because I wrote the original message, but because I saw the original message. Anyone who saw my original message would see these same markups the next time they visited the wave after Lars made his edits.
Right, now I didn't get to see the original message, so when I open up this wave, I just see the current version of it. But I do get to see that both Stephanie and Lars wrote this message. Most of the time, I'm not going to care. But if I do care, then playback is my friend again. So I see Stephanie's original message, she adds Lars, and then I get to see Lars's edits.
Thank you.
So now that we have our accountability in place, we're going to allow everybody on a wave to edit everything by default. When something is changed, the author is notified immediately, and if needed, can take action. And everybody who's on the wave can find out who did what. So Stephanie promised that we were going to do collaboration and communication using the same tool.
I did.
So now that I know that Lars made the request for more AIs, I'm going to use the inline reply tool we showed earlier to add my reply here. No, enough AIs already. My spelling is not doing well either.
It's hard when 4,000 people
Typing and talking, it's a little bit too much.
It's hard.
There we go. So I'll hand it back to Lars.
Okay, thank you. So notice that we never said, let's start a document here. These are all just waves. The only thing different here is that we chose to think of that opening message more like a document we're collaborating about than a message that starts a conversation. And then we're choosing to think about that inline reply more like the beginning of a conversation about the point in that document. But to the system, they're all just waves. And in fact, you can collaboratively edit any message in the tree. Doesn't have to be document-like at all. Stephanie often comes and very friendly fixes all of my spelling errors. And so we think this combination of collaborative editing and inline discussion makes for a very powerful collaboration tool. And I want to show you that with a design document that the team wrote a while back. Let me just reconfigure my client here. I'm going to go do a saved search, find the document here. Let me make some more space for it. And you'll see here that it's a rich text document. It's got headlines, it's got bullet points, it's got illustrations, different types of fonts. And then it's interrupted by these little snippets of conversation that help facilitate the collaboration. And as always, the best way to see how this happened is to play back the wave. And you'll see Stephen, our trusted server guy, started out with a terse draft. He added the rest of the team. Lars, the manager, says, please do more work. Stephen grudgingly adds another paragraph. He says, yeah, whatever. Then Stephanie, the PM, makes an edit here. She adds a comment there, starts a discussion there, and so on. I can use this slider here to drag to anywhere in the history of the wave. And we're planning a bunch of power tools that come with playback. For example, I might ask it only to play back Stephanie's contributions. I might ask it to only play back a single message or even a single paragraph inside a message. We're definitely going to let you take one change in the history and revert it at the end of the history. Maybe name a version so that you can find it again and so on. Playback is going to be a really powerful tool for investigating and manipulating the entire history of a wave. Thank you. And so now imagine we're done with the design document, or we find we're in a good state, we want to share it with a wider audience. You'll notice it's not super comfortable reading a document interrupted by all this discussion, so we added this widget here that lets you hide and show sub-discussions. But also, just like we extracted images from a wave earlier, we let you extract the current version of any message in a tree into a fresh wave, like this. And now I have a fresh wave with the pristine product of our work, which I can now submit to the server and share with whomever I like, put on a mailing list, internal blog, or even keep working on. And in fact, we're planning more features here for document production. Imagine you go back and do more work in the original wave, then you'll be able to merge just those changes into that same product wave. The product wave will just have a two-step history now, where each step is attributed to whoever did the copy. In fact, and you guys will recognize this is inspired by source control systems, we'll let you have a whole string of work waves, all pointing to the same product wave. You can have different teams working on different parts of a wave, and then when one team merges in their changes to the product wave, the other teams can pull that down, merge it with the local changes, and so on. So this is going to become a very powerful document production tool. Thank you. We showed you this, of course, with with rich text documents, there's no reason we shouldn't later add spreadsheet type functionality in there or presentation building type functionality in there. In fact, as we'll show you later, we're taking great care to make the content model inside Wave extendable, both by us and by you. Okay, the next thing we want to
just talk for a minute before you open it.
Talk for a minute
You know.
before I open it.
30 seconds.
We could do a
to help.
little interpretive dance while we open it. It's not that there's anything wrong with the thing I was about to open. It's just that. How are you guys doing? Are you having a good time? I know it's a long demo. Thank you. Don't be shy if you like it.
All right, we're ready.
There's a whole bunch of people in blue shirts working feverishly over there. And we're ready. Okay, so here is a Wave. Here's a Wave, that's right. So my little introduction here is the following. We're going to show you now the thing we had the most fun working on, as in this was the hardest thing we did, which is to let more than one person edit the same message at the same time and still transmitting the characters live on the wire. So we have a set of pictures here, and Stephanie is going to start at the top left editing the captions. You can see on my screen, I can see exactly with that orange label where she is, and I'm going to start from the lower right.
Thumbs up.
Spelling, Google,
Lars in the lead.
Smiley, David,
Through hiking.
Kapal. Thank you.
I'm going to
Now we're very close to each other. I'll add some styling here. I'll make this
Yeah.
italic. Oh boy,
that.
if someone could add some
Gonna
color,
underline.
we can do this. Notice how close we can edit to each other. You can see we've got a couple of our team has joined us. We've got 3 people here, Casey, Steph, Ophir, and Dan. We have 4 people now editing the same document right next to each other. Thank you. Thank you. And so apart from hours and hours of fun just chasing each other's carrots around on the screen,
It's a lot of fun.
a lot of fun. This sort of live concurrent editing opens up a whole set of new ways of using the tool. We're actually still discovering some. Imagine you're in the same room, you're taking notes from a meeting. Oftentimes people don't even come to the meeting, they just open up the Wave, see the notes being taken, they just pop their questions in the Wave, and so on. I want to, while I'm showing off our editor, I want to make sure you see that it supports right-to-left languages. This is Ophir speaking in Hebrew. Thank you. You see up at the top left that the editor supports languages that require international input method editors as well. I'm pretty sure that's Chinese. Okay, that's collaborative editing. And now, man, this is a long demo. You guys want to stand up a little? Stretch?
Any stretching?
Stretch a little? Hug the person next to you? You don't have to do
Big
that.
hug break. Make some friends.
I want to take a little break. We have lots more to show you, but I want to take a little break, and I want to call out to our friends and colleagues on the Google Web Toolkit team. So, thank you. Thank you. So, Google Wave is 100% built with the Google Web Toolkit from the first line of code we wrote in a prototype back in early 2007. And as I'm sure you know, the Google Web Toolkit lets you write HTML5 applications in Java. And then GWT, as we call it, automatically translates that into HTML, JavaScript, CSS, all of those things that then run in all of the modern browsers. And I think that we couldn't possibly have built something this rich without the Google Web Toolkit. In fact, I don't think we would even have thought to do that. I think using modern tools like this changes your way of thinking. When I was still hand-rolling JavaScript for Google Maps, I found too much of my brain cycles were used worrying about the constraints of programming in a scripting language in a browser. But by using GWT, I get to write in Java and have these amazing set of tools that come with writing in Java. And we found that our programmers can now spend most of their time thinking about the amazing potential of the web. And by the way, this is both if you're on a desktop or if you're on a mobile device. When I showed you on the Android and iPhone here, Wave was running in the browser in both of those phones. GWT makes that fairly easy to do. It's actually the same code that runs in those mobile devices. It's just a different layout. We estimate that the extra requirement of serving this both into desktop browsers and mobile browsers only adds about 5% extra engineering effort, which I find remarkable. Okay.
And that graph from yesterday.
Pardon me? Oh, the graph from yesterday, did you see that? How we built 1.4 megs of code and then all of a sudden it went down to 200K? We like Gwt for that.
All right. So back to the demo. Let's talk about organization. We learned from our own use of Wave that you get a lot of waves, which is great, but you need tools to organize them. We have things you're familiar with, like folders and saved searches. We also have tags, and they're shared by all the participants on the Wave. So you have just as much incentive to put a great tag on a Wave as a great subject. For example, Lars is way too lazy to organize his own stuff.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
So we, the team, help him do it.
Thank you.
But the most powerful way to organize waves is with waves themselves. Let me open a wave we use to organize this demo. You can see it has links to other waves in it, and you can combine them in sections, formatting, you can discuss them. And if I click on one of these links, it'll take me to that wave, and I can use the back button to go back. So let me show you how easy it is to create one of these wave links. If I missed one, I can just pick it up from the search panel and drop it in. I'll do that one more time because I think it's cool. Drop it in. So we've found on our own team, wave links are good for more than just lists. We're actually interlinking a lot of waves on our site, almost like a wiki on our team. Before we get to wave extensions, which I know this audience is really excited about, I want to show you one more thing that we worked really hard on. I'm going to go up here and search for Google Wave.
I have a feeling you're going to want to refresh your browser before we do this.
Just like my inbox, when a wave matches this search, it will pop into the panel.
And so Stephanie has a search for Google Wave over there. I'm teeing up a new wave here. Said, wow, I am finally demoing Google Wave. Now, the reason this hasn't showed up in Stephanie's search yet is I didn't type the E. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to count to 3, then I'm going to hit the E, and you guys can count how many seconds it takes before it shows up in Stephanie's browser. 1, 2, 3. You guys want to see that again? Hey, Stephanie, can you open up that wave for me?
All right, let me go over there.
Backspace. E, backspace, E, backspace, E, backspace, E, backspace. We call that the wave dance. So we worked really hard on this. We're pretty proud of the result. I should just say, after we started using it, we found this is almost too fast. Sometimes it draws your attention to unfinished work, and we're actually looking for the right balance between speed and not being interrupted too often. Okay, what's next?
Extensions.
Extensions. The reasons you guys came here. Okay, so the next thing we want to show is the other category of APIs that we're making available today, which is about extending the functionality of Wave. So we have tried hard to maintain a discipline on the team that even significant offerings of our own should be built with our own extension API so that your extensions will live as first-class citizens inside Wave. It's similar, actually, to how browsers like Firefox let you extend them. This is just the website you're extending instead of the browser. So let me show you some examples. You've undoubtedly noticed how all morning I've been pretending my spelling is bad just so that we could show off our spell checker. So normally spell checkers work by matching words up against a dictionary. If they don't find a word, there's an error. The problem is that oftentimes spelling mistakes hits other dictionary words. And so our spell checker actually takes the context of the word into account. And then it matches it up against an enormous language model that we've built from the entire web. Let me show you how powerful that is. We call this the bean soup demo. Can I have some bean soup? It puts a red underline, and it knows that I meant bean soup. Thank you. Okay, now watch carefully. It has been so long. Yeah. Did you see that? So it has become so good at spell checking that often it has enough confidence that we let it automatically correct my errors. Let me show you that again. Ickland is an Ickland. You are too kind. Pretty cool, huh? You didn't see that last one. Okay, so that's our spell checker, or Spelly, as we affectionately call it. Let me show you another simpler one that detects links in what you're typing. We call it Linky. I love Google.com. It immediately puts an underline, .a, ooh, that's not a link, .u, now it's a link again. You're wondering, what's this all got to do with extensions? And let me explain that. So you remember we showed you a robot earlier called Bloggy. All that one did was publish a blog that let you use the embedding API. But robots are really powerful ways of extending Wave's functionality. There's server-side programs that participate in Wave with all the power of the human participants. You can see from your robot the live changes in the Wave. You can make live changes to the Wave, including adding and removing messages, collaboratively edited messaging, adding and removing participants. You can even start new waves from robots. And the way Spelly works is that it uses our robot APIs to watch what I'm typing. It sits on the server, it watches what I'm typing, it takes every so many words and matches it up against its language model, and then when it finds an error, it uses collaborative editing to edit the content. And in fact, when it doesn't have enough confidence and it put that red underline, if Steph and I were editing the message at the same time, she would also see the red underline, and she could be the one taking the suggestion. Linky works in the same way. But who wants to be typing in links all day? We had a very good friend of ours from the Google search team build this extension for us here called Searchy. Let's search for Australia.
We have a really clever naming convention.
Yeah. And here you can do a
Y.
Google search from right inside Wave and add the link like that. You guys want to see that again? I search for Bora Bora. It's so pretty there. I add an image to the Wave just like that. Thank you. Let me just quickly return to our friend Linky. I've got a video sitting here. Let me copy the URL, and inside my Wave, I'm going to type check this out. And then I'm going to copy the link in there, and then I'm going to dance a little bit while the system spectacularly fails. Maybe we'll return to that later. Okay, so that's extensions that we built with internal APIs. And what we're doing today as part of the developer previews is make external versions of these APIs available to you guys. The external APIs has almost all the power of the internal APIs. There's a few things we haven't quite figured out how to securely export. We're working very hard to close the gap. We're going to show you now a series of examples of things that are built with the external APIs. These are all sample codes that are going to be on code.google.com where we'll host the API. Stephanie.
Any open social gadget can sit inside a Wave. In fact, we were about to show you one, which might come a little bit later. But we also make an additional API available that lets you, the developer, make your gadget live and collaborative. I want to show you that, but before I do, I'll digress and tell you a little story. Even though we on this team have been building Wave and thinking about Wave for a year and a half, when we first started using it ourselves, it took a while for us to discover all the ways Wave can make you more productive because we were so used to older tools. In fact, we're still discovering new ways all the time. I'll show you that by opening a Wave and using playback to tell you what happened. Someone on our team wanted to create a movie outing, and we should all go see the Transformers. So he sent a wave out, and people did something very email-like and responded. I'm interested. What place are you going to? Is that really a good movie? And so on. I tried to get them to see Confessions of a Shopaholic. Nobody went for that.
She's still trying.
Still trying. So when you look at this wave, it's sort of hard to parse out the important information of who wants to go. So somebody suggested we should all edit the opening message instead of putting it in individual messages. And we cleaned up the wave. Everyone started editing the opening message, and so on. This was a much better way to construct this RSVP list. And we could still have discussions about which card to take and so on. Now, we're all engineers, and you can look at this workflow and think, there are better ways, or there are ways to make this even better using our extensions. So another engineer on our team wrote a gadget. We call this the yes, no, maybe gadget. Hey. So it's hard to see for you guys, I know, but I'm currently a no in the middle column, and I'm going to change it to maybe. And you see it update on Lars's screen.
And I'm currently in the maybe column, and I click the yes over here, and you'll see it quickly updates on both our screens.
So you, the gadget developer, only have to worry about two things. When I click the button, update the state of the gadget in XML in the wave, then we automatically transmit through the server to Lars's client, where your gadget has to update the UI to reflect the new state. Now, of course, we did all this. Ooh, it's a secret, though. Don't tell anyone, but we did all this so we could build impossibly fun, addictive games, and we'll show you a few of those now. Lars and I are going to open Sudoku. And we intended for this to be a collaborative game so we could solve the puzzle together, but somehow it turned competitive. And you get a point for making a good move and a negative point for doing something wrong. You can see Lars's score is going negative.
How can you play Sudoku in front of 4,000 people? Come on.
Then back in 1851, Lars and I played this chess game that became very famous. It ended in 23 moves. And it illustrates how well playback works with gadgets. So if I go into playback and I click forward, you can actually step through the whole game. So as we mentioned in the beginning, we come from the Maps team, so probably wouldn't be a good demo if we didn't do a Maps gadget as well. It's been a lot of work to prepare for this demo, so I'm going to send Lars a wave about taking a vacation.
Stephanie's favorite topic. She wants to go on vacation in Bora Bora. She's asking me for recommendations. I highlight the term Bora Bora here, and then I click this button that's provided by an extension that you guys could have written that inserts a map to Bora Bora. Thank you.
Now, the important thing is my hands are off of my computer, but my screen is still on the right.
And now I click the satellite button, and it changes on both screens, and I go zoom. Zoom, 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 zoom. Thank you. And now, Stephanie loves swimming with sharks. I happen to know that the lemon sharks hang over here. And you can see as I put that marker on, it shows up live over on Stephanie's screen. Now my hands are off.
And I'll pick up the polygon tool and I'll tell Lars, actually, I want to stay in this area.
And you see that showing up on my screen too. And so again, all you guys have to do with your gadgets is to store updates to the state in the local XML, and then we transmit on the wire, and then the other instance of your gadget just updates its state when it gets notified of that change. And so those are client-side extensions. I want to just show you, actually, the team in blue over here is scrambled, and they brought back up Linky. And I want to just show you what happened when I dropped that YouTube URL into the old extension wave. So you'll see that Linky didn't just recognize it was a link, but it recognized it was a link to a video. It puts this little friendly light bulb on my screen where I can open up a set of suggestions for what I might want to do. Like, for example, I might want to embed the video right inside my wave and play it for you guys. Ta-da. Pretty cool, huh? Thank you. Okay, what's next? So Stephanie showed you a bunch of gadgets. They're all client-side extensions. We want to show you next what you can do on the server side with robots. And we're going to show you 3 examples. The first one is an application, a collaborative application built entirely within Wave with our extension API. So let me just open up my inbox again. And instead of clicking New Wave, I'm going to hit this drop-down button here, and I'm going to hit this item called a new poll. New poll is just a new wave, but with a special robot that comes from an extension that you guys could build called Polly the Pollster. And I'll add Steph to the wave as well. Polly added a form to the wave. Yes, and so this is not a gadget. Forms are native to Wave. You can put them in there, and now I can fill out the form starting with the title of the poll that I want to conduct. And you'll see, as I'm typing in the form, Polly sits on the server side. She saw that letter by letter, and she updated the title of the wave. Now, the really cool thing about having forms in waves is that you can fill them out collaboratively. So Stephanie is going to fill in the choices while I add the question here. Which movie is the best ever? Question mark. And you see that Stephanie is filling in the options in the field below.
Star Wars.
Star Wave.
Not on purpose.
Confessions of a Shopaholic. So now Stephanie is going to fill out a number of people that we're going to send the poll to in the recipient list there. She's putting in 6 of them. Now I'll hit the button here that says distribute poll. Now what happens is that Polly sees that I hit that button. She fills in a results section in that same wave here, and then she sends out fresh waves with the questions we specified to all the recipients we specified, and Stephanie is one of them.
So I'm going to answer the poll that Star Trek's my favorite.
And you'll see that Polly updates the results live in the admin wave. With a bit of luck, so thank you. Thank you. Okay, so that's an example of an extension built exclusively inside of Wave. The next type of extension we want to demonstrate for you are extensions that integrate Wave with existing communication systems. In this case, we'll show you with everyone's favorite microblogging service, Twitter.
So at this point, you're probably wondering how to install these extensions. So let me open a Wave. And you probably won't be surprised to hear that extensions can live inside a Wave. Here's a bunch of puzzle pieces showing some of the things we're using today. All I have to do if I want to use one of these extensions is click the install button. And you can see over here, there's a new drop-down menu. And I have the option to create a new TWAVE.
Well, TWAVE, of course, is a wave of tweets.
You can describe as a developer how your extensions hook into Wave. It could be a keyboard shortcut, a button on the toolbar. It could be something like the new TWAVE button. There'll be a confirmation page that tells the users how you're going to interact. We haven't quite implemented that yet. So let me log in here. I have to tell you that Lars created my Twitter account.
I made her Tweffany. She hates that.
Oh, crap.
She's Tweffany Twitter.
I think that tab button should be implemented, you guys. I feel like all sorts of bad stuff is about to happen. All right, so I'll sign into Twitter. And you can see tweets from all the famous people I follow. And down here at the bottom, Lars.
No.
I'm just going to close it. We still haven't... I want to get the contacts out. It's important you can see that each of these avatars, they're not necessarily Wave users. Through our APIs, you can be a proxy for contacts on a different system. So I have Lance Armstrong, Ryan Seacrest, lots of different people. If I go down here and I look for Lars's tweet, I can respond to it. He says, the demo's going pretty well, and I'll say, it ain't over yet.
And now I've logged into Twephany at Twitter over here, and if I refresh the page, you'll see that the extension took Stephanie's wave reply and tweeted it. Thank you.
Now, Tweety also lets you search over the public timeline of Twitter, for example, for a phrase like Google Wave. So I'm going to start a new Twave.
You're going to search for Google Wave now?
I'm going to do it.
How brave is that?
I'm not afraid. So I'll try again. I'm going to log in. And then I'm going to type Google Wave. So we did this yesterday, and there were only 2 tweets. One of them was a woman interviewing at a company called Wave. So she said, I should Google Wave before my interview. So now let's sign in, see what happens. A lot more than 2.
Oh.
And we can go down to the bottom and see tweets still coming in.
Oh my God, you guys, thank you. Wow, thank you.
So that was an example of an integration between Wave and another communication system.
I'll just add to the search functionality here, actually, that you can have Tweety continuously search over in Twitter and update the wave as they come, so you can use them like Twitter alerts for whatever you're interested in. It'll just pop into your inbox. Buggy.
We were reading the tweets.
We were reading the tweets.
Totally threw us off.
Okay, the last example of a robot extension we want to show is an example of how you can use Wave extension APIs to integrate Wave with an existing workflows. You guys are programmers like us. You probably deal with filing bugs. I want to show you an integration between Wave and the issue tracker, the bugs database over on code.google.com. But this could be any issue tracker, Bugzilla, GitHost, whichever is your favorite. So I'll just conjure up a canned message here. And I'll tell you a little bit about how we do bugs on my team. So a programmer has built some code. They've sent it for code review. They also send a demo to the PMs and UI people and Jens and I. Then we sit in a room and we test it. And you can't read the text here, but there's a bunch of bullet points with observations we made. We, of course, edited this collaboratively. Some of them are bugs. Some of them are observations for discussion later. Some of them are notes for the UI designers. And, of course, we should now go and file bugs. But instead of doing that manually, we wrote an extension that lets me just select a bullet point, click this button here, and now a robot enters the fray called Buggy, takes that text, and files it as a bug for me. Thank you.
Hey, Lars, why don't you add me?
Yes, excellent. And I'll add Steph to the wave. The robot also grabs a little summary from issue tracker and puts it right inside the wave. There's a link there to the bug which Stephanie will now click so that you can see the bug sitting over on issue tracker.
All right, so I'm going to open this bug, number 11. And
while she does that, I'll file a bunch more. You can see how easy it is. I just triple click here. There's another one. And I'll file that bug too. Okay, and so now we might send this wave, we might share this wave with our bug triage team. I'll just do that myself. All I have to do is change the assignee here. I'll give this to Stephanie. I'll take this myself. And then this one goes to Lars. Oh, I'm sorry, was that Greg? Like this. And now you'll see Stephanie will refresh the bug, and you'll see the robot change the assignee over in the issue tracker.
It's on the left-hand panel where it says owner.
And also, most issue trackers or bug databases let you debate bugs endlessly, if I recall, inside the database, which is normally not the strength of the database, but it is the strength of Wave. And so instead of debating them over on issue tracker, you can debate the bug from inside Wave. I'll just use the inline reply tool here, and I'll say, that is so not my fault, exclamation mark.
And I'll refresh. You can see the update there.
Okay. And so now we can continue the endless debate inside of Wave, which would be much more efficient. We could also build, we haven't done this in this sample here, that if someone wanted to go make a comment over an issue tracker, the robot would see that and update the Wave as well. And just like we did a search through Twitter into a Wave, we could also have the robot start a new wave of bugs and just pull in all of the bugs assigned to you so that you could track them from within a Wave. It's remarkable, thank you, how much more effective this sort of thing makes you. Okay, that's extensions for you. You
And
guys
I think
feeling?
that's 2 of our Ps.
Those are 2 Ps. Are you guys feeling inspired yet? Good. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the protocols and algorithms underlying Wave. So we want Wave, as Stephanie said in the beginning, to be an open system. Obviously, it's an enormous reason behind the success of email that it's an open protocol. Anyone can build an email system. Anyone can email with each other regardless of where they got their accounts from. We want Wave to work the same way. And so we've designed the algorithms, we've designed the protocol to support what we call federation, which means that any organization could build their own Wave system, give accounts to their users, even in competition with Google, and then the system will still ensure that we can share Waves with each other across these boundaries. And we want to first show you how that's going to look, and then we'll talk a little bit about how far along we are with that. So this is very much work in progress. Everything we've shown you is work in progress. I'm going to sign in to a different version of the system that sits inside our corporate network that has an open port on it for this sort of federation. And we're going to imagine 2 separate Wave systems. One is the one Google has built that you've been looking at all morning. The other one is from Acme Wave, which you'll see over on Stephanie's screen. They have built a separate system. They're actually giving out accounts in competition with Google. You'll realize that their client looks very similar to ours. That's because we're intending to open source the lion's share of the code that we use to build our system so that organizations can get started quickly. And that's how Acme Wave built their system. So I'll start a Wave over on my account here, and I will say, project, you want to work with me on that thing, ? And then I will add, what's your account over on Acme Wave?
It's Stephanie.
Stephanie on Acme Wave. So Stephanie momentarily has
Actually,
her
it's
account.
Steph.
There we go.
Sorry.
Stephanie is now a user over on Acme Wave, and I'm going to add her to the Wave.
So I'm going to open up the Wave, and he says, you want to work with me on that thing? And I said, I think the guys over at Initech can help too.
And so even though Steph and I have accounts on different Wave systems, you still get that live character-by-character interaction. The way it works is that from our 2 clients, these fine-grained operations travel to our respected servers, then it crosses over and goes back up to our client. And all of the liveness and concurrency control and and real-time resolution of conflicts happen in an algorithm that supports this sort of federation. Let's bring a 3rd Wave system into the system. So we have a couple of friends, Peter and Milton, that work for a company called Initech. They have chosen to run their own Wave server in their server closet. These guys didn't take our code. Milton is the kind of engineer who prefers building stuff from scratch.
I'm not sure I want to show this, Lars.
Oh, come on. You show it. I'm going to add Peter, and I'm going to add Milton. Why do you want to show it?
I'm afraid this crowd might like their UI better than ours, and it would break my heart.
Don't break our heart. Do you have the Wave? Do you have the Wave?
No, because just make another edit. So now I have the Wave.
So
And if I go into it,
Thank you.
now I want to show you an important principle of an important feature of the protocol. So I go back to Acme Wave, and I'm going to make a private reply, just like you saw earlier in the demo. But I'm going to add everyone except Lars. So I'll say, What do you think of that Google guy? So I'll add all of my friends, Peter and Milton. Even though this Wave is owned at Google and there's copies on Acme Wave and Inatex servers, this private reply is never seen by Google and cannot be discovered by Lars in any way. In fact, if Peter and Milton made a private reply between themselves, that Wave would never leave their server closet.
Thank you.
And I just want to go back over to Milton for a second. You can see the private reply came in there as well.
Okay, so let me just say this. Federation, that was hard. Yeah, so we're building this thing with live concurrent editing and chatting and instant messaging and email and pictures and all that stuff. And then we throw Federation into the mix, which vastly complicates things. It would be so much easier, frankly, from an engineering point of view, if we could just keep this proprietary. Then we'd control all the servers, we'd control all the update schedules, and so on. But we think it's worth the effort, and we hope you guys will help us with this. We think the world will be a much better place if this is an open system that everyone can build Wave services with it. And so, thank you. Thank you. And so let me tell you where we're at with this. So later today, there's a website. I'll show you the URL later that's going to launch, which will have, it's a very early draft of this protocol. It'll have, I think, 4 white papers describing how the system works. It's going to have, of course, a public discussion forum so that we can start debating how this hopefully bright future of Wave will look. And then, like I said later, we're going to open source the lion's share of our code, which will serve both as a reference implementation of the protocol, but also essentially a production-ready system, like you saw Acme Wave do. I'm obviously vastly simplifying it here, but essentially you could take that code, you could put it on top of your own database, and you would have a simple Wave server, and you'd be up and running. Okay, so that's Federation.
I'm excited about our next demo.
The next demo is very, very nice. This is something to end off our demo with, something a friend of ours on the Google research team has been building over the past month. I saw it myself the first time just a few days ago, and it blew me away. So let's see, I'm going to make sure I'm on the right system here. I'm back on the Sandbox. So again, we've been doing this demo on the system where we'll get you guys accounts. Now, Stephanie is going to log into an account of one of our colleagues, Alexei. And then I'm going to start a new Wave, and I want to make sure you guys can see what we're typing. By making this a little bigger, like this. Did you make your font bigger there, Steph?
Yeah, I was going to wait till you started the Wave.
And then I'll start a new Wave here, and I'll add Alexei, one of our colleagues, and then I'll add my all-time favorite robot called Rosie. Yes? So Alexei is from France. His English is not terribly good.
Aww.
For the purposes of this demo. And Rosie is a robot that very kindly translates what I'm typing. Hello, world. What do you think of this demo? And now Alexei is typing in France, and I get to see him saying, yes, since new we are in can use used, translates word by word, character by character as he's typing. Rosie speaks, I believe, 40 languages. She can translate between any pair of them. She's quite the thing. Okay, that finishes our demo. Oh, thank you. 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 Thank you.
I think they like it.
They like it. You guys like it? Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Wow. Wow, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
I have a lot of skills. I think
Thank you.
they really liked it. If you guys really liked it, you could do a wave.
So,
Anyone? It's time
So-
to do the wave.
what do you guys think? Okay. So
Thank you
just
so much.
just to summarize, what we like to think we've built here is really quite a simple communication object called a wave. And we've showed how you can use it for quite a lot of different types of communication and collaboration. We showed you how plain vanilla email type conversations could be done. We showed you how instant messaging conversations could be done. We showed you how easy it is to share photos or other rich media types with it. We introduced a platform that we're hoping you guys will pick up that will let you build things like blogging sites, discussion groups, let your users discuss images on your website. With the editing functionality, you can see you can build Wikilite sites with that as well. We showed you how you can use Waves to collaboratively edit documents. We showed you a rich set of extension APIs that could let you build everything from games, through collaborative applications inside a Wave, through integrations with other communication systems. We showed you Twitter. We're hoping you guys will build gateways from Wave to email, to Facebook, to instant messaging, and so on. We showed you how you can use these extension APIs to also integrate Waves into workflows. Okay. And now,
Just going to bring up.
for the administrativia at the end, I want to just point out, I forgot that earlier, that we have 3 breakout sessions that I don't believe has been in the program so far. The first one at noon is about the API. If you can only come to one of our breakout sessions, please make it that one. The next one is a little run-through of some of the more exciting pieces of technology under the hood. We're going to show you from the top of the stack how our amazing spell checker works, how the rich text editor in the browser works, and the algorithms that we use underneath to do all of the concurrency control and conflict resolution and so on. And then at 2:30, one of our client team tech leads are going to explain how we build the web application with the Google Web Toolkit, why we love it so much, and what some of their future plans are. We also have in room B4 from noon till 4:30 office hours where you guys can come talk to the team in blue here. They love talking. And then I wanted to show you 3 important URLs here. So for starters, wave.google.com is going to be the home of Google Wave when we launch it later in the year. If you go there now, or when the site goes live in a little bit, there is a sign-up form there where you can sign up for notifications when we launch it. And there's also going to be a beautifully edited video of today's keynote. The API site is going to go live. The API site is already live. No wonder I couldn't get a connection to my mobile phone before. It's on code.google.com/apis/wave. It's got the API, it's got the documentation, it's got the code samples we showed before. Actually, I should just mention really quickly the the issue tracker integration we showed at the end. We had to cheat ever so slightly by using an internal API to the issue tracker. I think they're working really hard making APIs available. So that particular sample is not going to be there for a wee while. Lastly, at waveprotocol.org, you'll find the protocol draft, the white papers, the discussion forum, and so on if you guys are interested in helping us build out Wave to be an open system.
Should tell them about the email.
Yes. And the way you're going to get an account is you'll receive an email later today that explains where you can go and sign up for an account, which you will get shortly. Okay. So look, the last thing I want to say, you can probably imagine it felt kind of nice that you guys seem to like what we built. One of the best times in my professional life was after we launched Google Maps back in 2005. And developers started doing all kinds of crazy things with Google Maps. I hope some of you are here. This was even before we had an API on Maps. We scrambled to put an API on Maps, and it's become very popular, and it's a huge driving force of success. We learned a very important lesson that you guys, developers, are incredibly important to the success of the kind of products that we built. And so I can't wait to see what you guys are going to come up with. Please, please, please check it out. Build cool stuff. Surprise us. I just can't wait to see what you come up with. Thank you very much.